Hey there everyone, this is Jeremy, the Music Andy, and we're here today to talk about Boris's newest release, W. What studio album are we on? 26, 27? Man, it's just incredible to look at the discography of Boris and just how consistent they are and how just reliable they are with their albums coming out nearly every single year. I really just want to dive right into this album. This is the 30th year of Boris being founded. They founded back in 1992. Founded, formed, whatever you want to say. I want to go to the side where you can touch is the opening track on this, and it has a very ominous soundscape. It has gasping breath vocals. The pace on this is at a crawling speed. We have heavy drones, very spacious drums, very sleepy vocals. At around the 1 minute 40-second mark, this starts to wind up and it ultimately releases into the song, making a very disturbing environment. We got alarms wailing in the background of this. The drums kind of have this drunken rhythm to them, and the guitars feel like the strings are just being pulled on them, not played, just stretched as far as they can go. The textures here and uniques are beautiful. We get an abrupt stop, and it kind of moves into this groovy lo-fi section. And then we move on to the nice next track, Isolina. Starting off this song is almost a dark vaporwave approach from Boris on it. This feels like a dream, and a very unsettling dream at that, but I wouldn't say a nightmare because there are sprinkles here and there of sunshine and these little chime garnishes. The vocals here are very robotic, stripped of life. It adds a very eerie element to the song, but I don't have fear for them. This again is a slower, drony song, but I feel that Boris at this stage of their career is very good at doing drones, good at introducing new tones, rhythms, tempo changes, dynamic changes. This track really doesn't blow me away, but it feels very connected to the first one, making it a very good album experience. Drowning by Numbers is the third track on this, and it is an immediate switch from the last track. There is no space in between notes on this song. There's always something happening in the background, in the foreground. The bass is very simple, but it's something that always calls my attention, and I always have my ears planted on. The vocals on this are also very impressive and very interesting. Everything on this album so far has been delivered in kind of a hush whisper tone, and it just adds a very unsettling element to the tracks. I like it. It's just something that I'm not used to, but I think that it's very well done, especially with the way that they introduce instruments around it and the main focus on it. Invitation track 4 is a more classical, atmospheric post-rock song. Heavy on the textures. This whole track sounds like it's completely underwater with how much reverb there's going on. The quick moments of glitched out synths are very pleasant. They disrupt the calming aura of the song very well. Again, the vocals here are more hushed, but there are a few moments of high piercing notes that are kind of bathed in sunlight. This might not be the most active song all around, but it is one that I enjoy very much, and it fits well into the album as well. The Fallen track 5 again kind of creates that wall of noise that Drowning by Numbers had on it. And look at that, there's a guitar riff, and it's super sludgy. And the drums just do a very good job in supporting it, and the dial is kind of turned up on this static background, adding a lot more texture to it. The guitars and drums are the main feature on this as the thunderous drums continue to march on, and we have lead screeching guitars being kind of layered on into it as well. For me, this is kind of an odd song to include on this album, but it is not an odd song for Boris to make at all. The end on this track completely falls apart. It just starts spinning out, it gets very wild, and it just completely fails in a good way. It is a very interesting ending, and it takes my breath away every single time I hear it. It's actually my favorite part of the entire album. Beyond Good and Evil track 6 is a very delicate song, and it again has those whispered, hushed vocals. Halfway through, we get a tiny little explosion, and then we just ascend upwards with the vocals following behind us. Triumphant in sound, the song begins to unwind itself until it kind of disrupts, malfunctions, and then loops itself back to the beginning textures and tones and melodies. This might be my least favorite track on the album. It's a little bit too simple for my approach and how I like it, but again, if you like this song, there's nothing against it. Old Projector is the 7th track on this, and we have wailing siren noises in the background with this almost western desert guitar scale being played. This really doesn't evolve past the lead section that's being played. We get a few fills, we get a few different phrasing, but it doesn't switch too much. The end just turns into this sludgy, metal, kind of like the fifth track on this one and what Boris is kind of known for. The end becomes this quick little sludge metal section until it just completely fades out. Again, just like the last song, I'm not too much of a fan on this. It just didn't stick around in my head. I don't really memorize anything from it. You will know track 8 has birds chirping and then planes whooshing, kind of making these swirling wind sounds. The EBow playing the guitar kind of transitions into the vocals, and then the guitars that are left over become very warped and very skewed. This song is very wavy in texture all the way around. However, the enjoyability of it didn't last too long for me. The first half of this album kind of introduced a lot of different textures, a lot of different tones, having them dancing around each other. And the second half of this album so far has been kind of more safe, and once they have a sound, they stick to it and they don't really break away from it at all. The final track, Jozan, I believe that is how it is pronounced, is only about 1 minute and 25 seconds, and it's just a little jam session with a slide guitar going on. It doesn't really add anything, it doesn't take anything away. It's a nice little ending to the album. I was really impressed with the first half of this album. I was going to see the new approaches in the second half, but they really didn't have any new approaches. And once they found a sound, they just stuck to it and played it a little too safe for me. The first half definitely carried it, like I was saying. The back half isn't terrible, so I'm going to have to give this 6.9 W's out of 10. What did you think of this album? What albums would you like me to review in the future? Please leave a comment below and let me know. Subscribe if you like the content, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.